Hi everyone! My name is Dell Maquiling. So for today's video, I will talk about the hand signals and the flag signals of volleyball. So a sports referee needs to know the rules and understands how to apply them to certain situations. In addition, they need to be confident about the use of clear hand signals and flag signals in order to communicate. So the players need to know and understand those signals as well. The hand signals help the players to better understand how to proceed in the game. But first, let me talk about the importance of whistling. So the referees must indicate with the official hand signal the reason for their whistle. The signal has to be maintained for a moment, and if it is indicated with one hand, the hand corresponds to the side of the team which has made the fault or the request. All signals which are made with one hand shall be made with the hand of the side of the team that commits the fault or makes the request. After the signal is made, the referee gestures to the player who has committed the fault or the team that has made the request.
Authorization to serve.
The beckon for serve is the most used signal by the first referee. This signal is used to start each rally. Start with the arm straight out from the shoulder, then the arm is also parallel to the floor. Hand is open with the palm facing forward, then whistle first before signal. You don't want the palm facing upward or downward.
Team to serve.
Extend the arm to the side of team that will serve. The referee will signal both teams to show which team will begin the rally. This occurs mostly after a fault.
Change of courts.
In volleyball, after each set, the teams must switch sides. After the referee has signaled the end of the set, they will place one arm in front of them and the other arm behind them. This indicates one team must rotate around to the other side of the court in front of the referee while the other team rotates behind the referee.
Time out.
In volleyball, teams are allocated a certain number of timeouts per set. These timeouts can be used for a multitude of reasons. Whether it's discussing tactics with your team, give a motivational speech, or simply just to break out the play. If a player or team requests a timeout, the officials will signify this by creating a T using their hands. This T will be displayed at head level to ensure all players can visibly see it. After the T is displayed, the official will point to the side which has called the timeout so it can be noted down on the score sheet.
Substitution.
Substitution are used for many reasons, whether it be to replace an injured player, change up the lineup, or simply just to swap in a service specialist to try and get a few aces. If a team wants to sub in a player, they must follow a simple process. The player which is to be substituted in will be given the number. The player which is to be substituted in will be given the number of the player that they are to replace. The player who is being subbed in will stand on the side of the court by the side of the referee and hold up a paddle with the number of the player they are replacing. The referee will show the substitution is taking place by placing their arms horizontally one over the other. They will then rotate their arms in a spin cycle motion to signify that a swap or rotation in the lineup has occurred.
Misconduct warning.
Show a yellow card for warning. Yellow cards when shown act as a warning. No penalty is incurred when a yellow card is shown. Usually, if something is going on during the match that the officials don't like, the team captains will be called over to the referee stand and inform of the issue they feel is occurring. The captain will then replay this message to the team as a first warning. If misconduct or unsportsmanlike behavior continues, this is when yellow cards will be awarded to individuals. At this stage, there is no further penalties and play will continue as normal. However, with that being said, the player or coach in question that received the warning will be noted down on the score sheet, meaning a red card is much more likely to be given.
Misconduct penalty.
Show a red card for penalty. Red cards when shown indicate a sanction or penalty. In volleyball, the team of the offending player would lose the point and if applicable, the serve. If a player is shown a red card, this would often be for a consistent repeat offenses of something the captain and individual has been warned about. If a red card is shown, the team of the offending player would lose the point and if applicable, the serve also. With that being said, unlike many other sports, when a player is shown a red card, they are in fact allowed to continue playing as the loss of point, or it could be the serve, is seen as enough of a penalty at this stage.
Expulsion.
Show the yellow and red cards for expulsion. A team member who is sanctioned by expulsion shall not play for the rest of the set, must be substituted legally and immediately if on court, and must remain seated in the penalty area with no other consequences. An expelled coach loses his or her right to intervene in the set and must remain seated in the penalty area. The first offensive conduct by a team member is sanctioned by expulsion with no other consequences. The second rule, conduct in the same match by the same team member, is sanctioned by expulsion with no other consequences.
Disqualification.
Show the yellow card and red card separately for disqualification. A team member who is sanctioned by disqualification must be substituted legally and immediately if on court and must leave the competition control area for the rest of the match with no other consequences. The first physical attack or implied or threatened aggression is sanctioned by disqualification with no other consequences. A second offensive conduct in the same match by the same team member is sanctioned by disqualification with no other consequences. The third rule, conduct in the same match by the same team member, is sanctioned by disqualification with no other consequences.
End of set or match.
Cross the forearms in front of the chest, hands open. This mostly occurs when the match or set has ended.
Ball not tossed or released at the service heat.
This signal is for when the ball isn't released from the hand at the moment of service contact, or if the server doesn't execute the service properly. The motion starts at the thigh and there is less bend at the elbow. Extend the arm with the palm up, then start at the thigh and end at the waist.
Delay in service.
Once the referee has blown the whistle to initiate the start of the rally, a player has 8 seconds to start the ball. If for whatever reason the player takes longer than the allocated 8 seconds, the referee will award the point to the other team for the delay in service. A referee will show this has occurred by raising their hand with a flat open hand before awarding the point to the opposition team.
blocking fault or screening.
The same signal is used for illegal blocking and screening. Extend both arms vertically with the palms facing forward. When showing the signal, it may be necessary to show the player or players at fault.
Positional or rotational fault.
The signal for a position fault or rotation fault is held at waist height. Make a clockwise circular motion with the index finger pointed towards the floor. After the signal, indicate the players at fault. You need to indicate what players in order to prevent a subsequent occurrence on the next whistle of service.
Ball in.
When the ball lands in the court within the boundary lines, this ball is indicated in. Signal by extending the arm with hand open toward the court. The arm should be 45 degrees away from the body. Point near the intersection of the attack line and sideline. The thumb should be next to the index finger without space between the fingers.
Ball out.
When the ball goes out of bounds without being touched by the defender, or the ball hits the antenna or across the net outside the antenna, you signal by raising both arms while keeping the upper arms parallel the floor. The forearms are perpendicular to the floor with elbows kept at a 90-degree angle. Hands are open with palms facing behind you. Your arms should be a comfortable distance apart to allow you an obstructed view. You should easily be able to see your referee partner, the court, and the benches beside you. Your signal should not like a touchdown signal.
Catch.
When the ball is caught or thrown, signal by extending your arm slightly toward the court at waist height with hand open and palm up. Slightly cup the hand with fingers together. Start at waist height and raise to shoulder level. Keep the hand away from the shoulder and outside the body line, not in the front of the body, but out to the side so everyone can see.
Double contact.
When you signal multiple contacts, raise your arm with the first two fingers extended. It's the arm on the side of the net where the fault occurred. Signal slightly to the side and above the head, not directly in front of you. Remember, multiple contacts are illegal during a team's first attempt, provided they are done by a single playing action.
4 hits.
If a team contacts the ball more than 3 times without sending it back over the net, and the 3 and 4 contacts aren't made by the same player, then signal 4 hits. Signal by extending the arm with 4 fingers. They should be slightly to the side and above the head. Remember, if the same player makes the 3rd and 4th contact, the signal is 2 hits.
Net touch by player. Serve ball fails to pass to the opponent through crossing space.
Indicate the relevant side of the net with the corresponding hand. Net contact isn't a fault unless the player interferes with play. Touching the top band of the net on top 80 centimeters of the antenna during his or her action of playing the ball is considered an example of player interference.
Reaching beyond the net.
When a player reaches legally beyond the net contacting the ball or the opponent, show the reaching beyond the net signal. Place the forearm across the net without touching the net or the net cable. The palm should be down and perpendicular to the net. After showing the signal, indicate the player at fault.
Attack hit fault.
When a player attacks the ball legally, extend the arm straight up above the shoulder with hand open. Bend at the elbow and make a downward motion toward the opposing team. The downward motion ends at just above eye level as to not block your vision of the court. After the signal, indicate the player at fault.
Penetration into the opponent court, ball crossing the lower space or the server touches the court or end line or the player steps outside his or her court at the moment of the server's hit.
Point to the center line or to the relevant line. Penetration into the opponent's court beyond the center line to touch the opponent's court with a foot is permitted, provided that some part of the penetrating foot remains either in contact with or directly above the center line. To touch the opponent's court with any part of the body, the feet is permitted provided that it does not interfere with the opponent's play. A player may enter the opponent's court after the ball goes out of play. A players may penetrate into the opponent's free zone provided that they do not interfere with the opponent's play.
Double fault and replay.
Anytime a rally must be replayed, signal a replay by holding two fists above the shoulders with thumbs up. A rally may be replayed if an object or ball comes on the court during play and causes a safety concern or causes interference, or when both teams commit a fault at the same instance.
Ball touch.
This signal indicates the ball was touched by the player on the side the ball went out of bounds. Put your arm at 90 degrees on the side of the team that touched the ball. Brush the fingertips once with fingers of opposite hand. Only brush once.
Delay warning or delay penalty.
Cover the wrist with a yellow card for warning, and for the delay penalty, cover the wrist with a red card. The first delay in a match by a team member is sanctioned with a delay warning. The second and subsequent delays of any type by any member of the same team in the same match constitute a fault and are sanctioned with a delay penalty, a point and service to the opponent. So now, let's proceed to the flag signals. Line judges must indicate with the official flag signal the nature of the fault called and maintain the signal for a moment.
Ball in.
When the ball touches the floor of the playing court, including the boundary lines, this signal must be given by the line judge who controls the line nearest to the point where the ball touches the ground. If the ball lands exactly at the corner formed by the sideline and the end line, the signal must be given by the line judge closest to the corner. Point down with flag.
Ball out.
When the ball touches the floor completely outside but near the boundary lines of the playing court, or it touches the antenna, this signal must be given by the line judge who controls the line closest to the point where the ball touches the floor. Raise flag vertically.
Ball touch.
When the ball is touched by blockers or a player of the receiving team or of the defending team, and after that it touches the floor outside the boundary lines on the same side, this signal is given by the line judge who controls the line closest to the point where the ball touches the floor. If a blocker is touched by the ball which contacts the ground outside the playing court on the same side, the signal must be given by the line judges who see the touch. Raise flag to the chest level and touch the top with the palm of the free hand.
Crossing space faults. Ball touch an outside object or foot fault by any player during service.
When the ball crosses the vertical plane of the net outside the crossing space into the opponent's court, or it touches the antenna, rope, post, or the net outside the side band. When after the ball has crossed the vertical plane of the net to the opponent's free zone totally or partially through the external space, it touches the floor, or it is played back by the same team not totally or partially through the external space on the same side of the court. This signal is given by the line judge who controls the sideline on the side where this takes place. Wave the flag over the head and point to the antenna or the respective line.
Judgment impassable.
When the line judge is unable to evaluate a fault within his or her jurisdiction, This signal must be given without delay at the exact moment it is realized that an event within the blind judge jurisdiction cannot be judged. Raise the flag using the other hand while crossing both arms and hands in front of the chest. Now, there you have it, the hand signals and flag signals of volleyball. I hope you learned something for today, and thank you for watching! Bye!